Story 1. I missed the lack of traffic. It was nice being able to actually go at the speed limit and get places in a timely manner. The downside was that there was much less need to be out driving to enjoy not having traffic. Story 2. I missed the world feeling a bit smaller. We were all in it together. Everyone was hosting balcony concerts or learning to make sourdough. That weird unity was kind of empowering. Story 3. That initial few days of lockdown when we thought it was all going to be temporary. I had just won the football squares bet at work and was $800 richer. I met a guy on Tinder who was hilarious and fun. My roommate at the time got sick, so I locked down with this Tinder guy for the initial weeks. I still worked, but during that first week, no one knew what to do. I had just gotten promoted, and during all that chaos, my training for the new role went to the wayside for a few weeks. So I logged on to Microsoft Teams and waited for something to happen. It never did. In the meantime, we slept in, watched The Mandalorian, played chess, and ate amazing food since the guy was a chef. We listened to Ween and had no schedule whatsoever. We drank and laughed and watched foxes approach the door wall in his condo. Then we would open the door and let my dog chase the fox, calling him back to repeat the cycle. We were brand new lovers, so we just got to spend time doing the fun things that come along with that. We laughed so hard and had someone to ease the uncertainty of everything that was going on. At one point, we practiced walking on our hands in the middle of a deserted street on a winter morning in one of the busiest ski towns in America because it was totally empty. But it was all obviously haunted by this weird, terrifying panic, like we were in some kind of thriller movie. I don't know how to explain that feeling, but it was weird. Writing this also made me realize how unique that time in our lives was and that there was a silver lining for me. Andy, if you read this post, thank you for such a great memory in the midst of a once-in-a-lifetime defining event. Story 4. How close I got to friends because we used to check in on each other daily and often during lockdown via phone or texting. Now everyone is busy living their lives, working or traveling, and I'm lucky if I get a text back the same week that I've messaged. Story 5. I kind of missed the simplicity of life during COVID. No one expected much from you. It was all about getting through the day, and there was something oddly comforting about that slow pace. Now it feels like life is moving at 100 miles per hour again. Story 6. Waking up every morning, joining the online university lecture, and then not paying any attention and instead playing the recently released Animal Crossing. New Horizons on my Nintendo Switch and eating cereal. It was my daily ritual and so nice to be honest. Also, the dramatic feeling that something big was actually happening out there, if it makes any sense. Sure, it sucked at times, but at least life wasn't boring. Story 7. I was the most stressed out I have ever been in my life just prior to COVID-19. Work, family, the speed of life was absolutely overwhelming me and it just all stopped. I had time, space, I could breathe. A massive weight disappeared from my shoulders overnight. Traffic was light, the crowds thinned out. That year, my country had the best spring and summer weather in a decade. I was also very lucky in that I did not lose anyone and was deemed a key worker. COVID-19 caused me no personal issues whatsoever. And now, things have slowly devolved back into the rat race. Disclaimer. I am absolutely aware of and thankful for my fortunate position during that time and would never wish it again just for my personal benefit. Story 8. I miss the simplicity of chilling at home, binge-watching shows, and having virtual hangouts with friends. Those moments felt cozy and carefree, a nice break from the usual chaos. Story 9. Staying home with my mom and playing cards every afternoon. Like clockwork, we would play cards around 2 every day. I really missed that quality time with her. Story 10. I'm pretty introverted, and I actually really liked all the COVID-19 shutdowns. It gave me time to pursue hobbies and passions. I spent my days and nights cooking a ton of amazing Thai food, got really into baking sourdough and keeping my own starter, building models, playing video games, and sleeping the best I haven't forever. Story 11. Aside from not being able to work, it was the most at peace I've ever felt. And if I had a work-from-home job, I never would have left my house again. I wish it didn't take such a horrible thing for people to be able to take the breaks they need. Story 12. doing MDMA with my wife and making out all night. I mean, we still do that, but there was something about being locked away in our house and just being loved up while everyone else seemed to lose their minds. Story 13. Not a thing. I work in healthcare, so I still had to work. I had to take the bus back and forth to work. The bus company marked off every other seat, so there was a distance between people, but they also cut the number of buses running, so buses were still crowded. On one of the buses, the driver flipped all the front seats up and wouldn't let anyone sit there, even though they were 6 feet from him, and he was enclosed with plexiglass and had fresh air coming in through his window. Story 14. Not having to make excuses to skip plans. During COVID-19, it was perfectly acceptable to just stay in, and no one questioned it. Now, the pressure to be social all the time is back, and I miss the built-in excuse of staying home. Story 15. Zero pressure to socialize or see anyone apart from my husband. Zero fear of missing out. I'm 40 and still don't quite know if I enjoy socializing, or just do it to tick a box that says I'm normal. And for the well-documented health benefits of having human connections, that is, for selfish reasons rather than because I necessarily enjoy the company of the people involved. I certainly felt the most mentally healthy that I've ever been during the lockdowns. Story 16. Having enough money. Not only could I afford to immediately pay a bill when it was due, I had plenty of groceries and ample time to grow 12 cannabis plants and tend to them until full harvest. Nothing like smoking cannabis you grew yourself, and it lasted me throughout 2021. But mainly having money in my checking account before getting paid again. Story 17. Clean, absolutely clear air in Los Angeles. Lived here over 30 years and never seen it quite like that before. No haze at all, just beautiful mountains all around. Without crowded freeways, the city looked glorious. Story 18. No pressure during the holidays. It was really nice to have a valid reason to stay home and enjoy our little family. Make yummy food, watch movies, and just be together without any pretense or expectations. And so nice to not deal with extended family drama. Story 19. I didn't have any social life before the lockdown and would get really upset knowing people were out and about having fun with friends, so I felt good during COVID that everyone was at home like me. Story 20. I low-key missed the time I had to focus on hobbies. I got into baking and even started learning guitar. Now, with everything back to normal, I barely have time to touch that stuff anymore. Story 21. Not having to worry about organizing family holiday get-togethers. During COVID-19, we just lazed around at home on Thanksgiving and Christmas, not worrying about in-laws or traveling or offending someone because we didn't make them the priority. We just sat around as a small family and enjoyed the moment. It was blissful. The first mention of holiday plans came up this week, and my wife said afterward, "Remember how peaceful the holidays were during lockdown? Damn, was she ever right." Story 22. Getting up knowing I would get to see my wife and kids every day, experience their day along with them, and end the day together. My kids are young, so being able to spend those early months before going back to 50 or 60 hours a week and at least one day on the weekend was so special. Story 23. I missed the walk I took on Good Friday during lockdown. I went almost half an hour without seeing a car on a normally busy street. For half an hour, I was the Omega Man. Story 24. I was a teacher at the time. Unlike many teachers, I was a music teacher. I basically got to do absolutely nothing for that last part of the school year. It was like a long holiday, the downside being I was genuinely afraid to go out and get groceries and stuff. But it was great not having to go back to school that year. I hated teaching, so it was such a relief when they closed schools. Story 25. The way we were heroes working from home, keeping offices running during lockdown, and now, when we say it makes us happier and there is clear evidence that productivity did not drop from the home office, we are just lazy and unwilling to work, wanting to continue. Story 26. Having house party sessions with my friends who all live in different cities or countries until 5 a.m. All of us were absolutely hammered. Felt closer to them than I have in ages. Story 27. I miss only ever having to do the top half of my makeup because anything under the mask didn't matter. Also, making faces at people at work under my mask. I miss that. Story 28. Not many people on the streets. Not being pressured into shaking hands and touching. And the social distancing was really great. No one bumped into you. Story 29. No pressure to come up with something all the time. With that said, of course, I like to do fun things, but it has to be on my terms. Some time ago, before the COVID-19 pandemic, people would roll their eyes if you even thought about spending a Saturday night at home. The attitude has changed a little now that people understand it is quite nice from time to time. And yes, working from home. I have the opportunity to do it today as well, but not every day without there being negative reactions. Story 30. I miss my old college roommates and living with them. We truly made COVID better for each other. And even though we have moved away and have careers, we still keep in touch. I also miss my best friend from there and hanging out almost every day. Story 31. My friends and I all played games together online again like it was 15 to 20 years ago. Then things went back to normal, and we are back to not playing games together again. Story 32. In the beginning, before masks, vaccines, and testing were widely available, even having a cough was reason enough to immediately stay home since I worked with people with health issues. So until we got steady supplies of masks and testing improved, my basically always there between September and June cough kept me on the sidelines for a long time. Usually, it would not have been a problem, but I couldn't tell if I might have had it or not. So staying at home fully paid for the biggest parts of almost 4 months while having normal health was quite nice. Story 33. Working from home without any guilt was amazing. I did not have to commute, could wear sweatpants all day, and nobody cared. Now it is back to the office grind, and I really miss those cozy workdays. Story 34. The time I spent talking and bonding with my late mother. The lockdowns gave us the chance to connect deeply, and those conversations are moments I will always cherish. Story 35. I miss the time that I normally wouldn't because of the embarrassment, but during lockdown, I really enjoyed shaving my head bald for absolutely no reason other than I felt like it. Story 36. I miss all the little home workouts I used to do. I wasn't hardcore into fitness, but with all the free time, I was able to stay active without even realizing it. Now I feel like I can't squeeze it into my day. Story 37. That everyone dear to me was 20 feet away or less, 24/7. I knew it was an anomaly that's probably never going to happen again and enjoyed it at the time. Story 38. The quiet weekends were amazing. No pressure to go anywhere, no events to attend. It was just pure relaxation time. Now weekends are jam-packed again, and I miss being able to just chill. Story 39. I miss the early morning walks I used to take when everything was still closed. Felt like I had the whole world to myself. Now life is busy again, and I do not really make time for peaceful walks like that. Story 40. I definitely miss the cheap gas prices and the fact that you didn't really need to go anywhere. Now, with everything open, gas is expensive again, and you have to factor that into daily life. Story 41. My boyfriend and I got together right before lockdown. We both worked in retail at the same company but at different stores, and lived 5 minutes away from each other, so we decided it was safe to be in each other's bubble. We had so much quality one-on-one time to just enjoy each other and be in that little love bubble because we literally couldn't do anything else. Story 42. The overall sense of communities coming together, to be honest. Like here in the United Kingdom, everyone on the street came out of their houses at 7:30 every Thursday to clap with appreciation for National Health Service workers. This was followed by socially distanced catch-ups of news and gossip before venturing back inside. Advertisements in supermarkets of people offering to run errands for those self-isolating. Families, friends, and neighbors checking in on one another more so than what they normally would do. Here in Scotland, small takeaway businesses running food banks and delivering essentials to members of the community. People volunteering their time to run kids' clubs for children of key workers. But now we're back to our normal lives with work and less likely to check in on one another because COVID-19 is as common as the cold now. Story 43. Ah, yes. I missed the silence. Empty roads. Then, the apprehension and social awkwardness after practicing social distancing for so long. That was funny to watch. Story 44. I was lucky enough to work from home. I bought a camper the year before COVID, and my wife gave birth to our first child, so we basically lived at campgrounds for 2 years while I worked remotely. It was absolutely amazing. I miss COVID. Story 45. For about 3 months, I was minimally employed. I was writing, recording, editing, and publishing a song every month. I enjoyed that. I haven't really touched the stuff since. I sold most of my gear too. Story 46. Working from home. Our office returned to full-time in-office work after 13 months. No one cared that our department flourished under working from home, and now we struggle due to the constant interruptions of office life. Story 47. Having little to no responsibility, I was 12 when it started. My friends and I were playing Minecraft while the teachers lectured in the background. Simpler times. Story 48. Morning walks. With the kids in virtual school and the adults working from home, we would get up at 5 in the morning and go for a long, meandering walk every weekday. We would get back home by 7, have some breakfast, and then go to work or school by 8. It was kind of nice to wander through different neighborhoods, see the sun come up, and get a lot of exercise without feeling rushed about it almost every day.